If you're thinking to start juicing or upgrading your current juicer and want something simple, this video is for you. I'm testing the AMZChef Slow Juicer. Thank you to AMZChef for sending this over in exchange for an unbiased review. Hi, I'm Meme, and as always I'll walk you through the full experience from unboxing to cleaning and show you exactly how it performs in my kitchen. So let's get into it. Before I jump in and forget to mention it, if you're new here, I test and review kitchen appliances so you don't have to guess before buying. If that sounds helpful, please consider subscribing. I post new reviews regularly. Inside the box you get the motor base, the juicing bowl, auger, a large feed container, juice and pulp containers, a food pusher and a cleaning brush. This is a 250 watt cold press juicer, so it runs slower and steadier than a centrifugal juicer. One of the main features is the 6-inch extra wide feed chute, which means less cutting and easier feeding. It uses a triple stainless steel filter system, has a 2-litre capacity, and the base has a stainless steel body. I am going to wash everything out first before I put it all together. Assembly is straightforward. First, make sure the silicone plug at the bottom of the juicing bowl is closed before you place it on the base. Next, insert the auger. Then slide the feed container over the auger and rotate it clockwise until it locks into place. AMZChef also claimed this runs quietly, so I tested that as well. When I ran the machine empty, the sound meter showed readings between 67 and 71 decibels with a maximum of 73.9. That's noticeable, but still reasonable for a kitchen appliance. For my first test, I'm starting with plain orange juice. This is what my kids actually drink. I peel the oranges completely, including removing the white pith. The manual recommends peeling citrus because this machine can't handle the skin, and leaving the pith in can make the juice bitter. Just to give you an idea of capacity, I have 9 medium oranges, fully peeled, and they can all fit into the chute comfortably. I started with 4 oranges first, just to see how it handles soft fruits. The machine didn't have any issues at all. You can use the reverse button to release anything that gets stuck, but overall it handled this really well and pushed the pulp out smoothly. Those 4 oranges gave me about 300 milliliters of juice. I do wish the markings on the container were easier to read. That's something I've mentioned in past reviews as well. When I poured it into a glass, you can see how vibrant the juice is. I did check for pulp because with citrus a small amount is expected. There was only a small amount of pulp. I strained it because my son is very sensitive to texture, but if you don't have any texture issues, you likely won't need to. Next is celery on its own. Fibrous produce like this is a good stress test for any cold press juicer. I started by feeding the stalks in long and whole just to test it out. It did work, but I found it needed a bit more effort to get the auger to grab them. I found it easier to cut the celery into smaller chunks, which helped everything feed through more smoothly. I juiced 7 celery hearts, which are a bit more tender than outer stalks, and that gave me about 150 milliliters of juice. The juice came out really fresh and a clean green, and when I poured it into a glass there were no bits left behind in the container, which tells me no pulp made it through into the juice. This is a classic green juice. Celery, cucumber, spinach, apple and lemon. I cut everything up and I also peeled the apple. Based on my experience with juicers, apple skin can slow things down, so peeling and cutting them into chunks just helps everything move more smoothly. Because leafy greens like spinach are very light, they feed better when they're mixed with harder or juicier ingredients. That combination helps push them through the auger instead of letting them bunch up. You can actually see how well the pulp outlet is working here, pushing pulp out steadily as it goes. I did notice a bit of grinding sound during this juice. That's fairly normal with combinations like this, and is most likely from the apple interacting with the filter and auger, sometimes combined with leafy greens wrapping briefly. Once everything clears through the auger, the sound fades out, and overall this juicer handled this mix well. There were a few loose spinach bits left clinging to the container walls, which is expected because spinach is so light. This gave me about 300 milliliters of juice. The color came out deep, rich green, and when I poured it into a glass, it looked clean and well extracted. Taste-wise, this is a really balanced green juice. You get a bit of tang from the lemon and celery, but it's softened by the cucumber and apple, so it's not harsh. Out of the 3 juice mixes I made, this was actually my mother-in-law's favorite. She really likes the tartness from the lemon and celery. This is a good option if you want a green juice that still tastes good, especially if you're newer to juicing and are often worried about the overpowering taste of spinach or celery. Moving on to carrots, because honestly no juicer is worth owning if you can't handle carrots, right? I usually use baby carrots, but this time I pushed the test a bit further and used the biggest carrots I could find. I did cut them into chunks and I mixed them with red apple. I also added a small piece of ginger to give the juice a bit of a kick. During this juice, the machine made a noticeably louder grinding sound. I measured it with my sound meter and the highest reading I saw during juicing was about 83 decibels. That said, the juicer still processed everything well. There were no clogs and it continued pushing pulp through consistently. The sound was just more noticeable with this harder fibrous combination. This also yielded 300 milliliters, and when I poured it into a glass, it looked smooth and well extracted with no visible chunks, just bright and rich in color. Taste-wise, this one came out naturally sweet from the carrots and apple, with just a gentle warmth from the ginger, not overpowering at all. This is a great option if you want a classic easy to drink juice, especially if you're newer to juicing or making it for the whole family. I like this one very much. My final juice mix is beetroot. A few people were a little disappointed in my last video because I didn't test it, and I get why. It's one people really want to see. I'll be honest, beets are the messiest, which is why I usually avoid them, but I wanted to include them this time. I noticed similar behavior here to the other mixes with apple. Since apple was included in all of the juices where I heard that grinding sound, I suspect it's the apple interacting with the auger and filter rather than an issue with the motor itself, because the sound eventually does die down once the food has passed through. There were no clogs and everything still processed through. When I poured this into a glass, there were no bits left behind from the carrots or beets, which tells me the filtration did its job. The color came out a deep, rich, dark red, and that's exactly what you want with beet juice. Taste-wise, I actually really like this one. It's earthy but balanced by the apple and carrot. I probably should do beet juice more often, and if you see red stained fingers, you'll know exactly what I've been up to. Overall, performance was solid. It handled soft fruits, greens, and mixed juices well. The main difference I noticed was an increase in noise with harder or more fibrous ingredients, even though the juicer continued to work really well. Pulp varied depending on the ingredients, which is what you'd expect. Orange and celery pulp were a bit wetter, which is typical. The carrot mix produced fairly dry pulp. The green juice pulp was wetter, mostly because of the high water content from ingredients like cucumber and spinach, and the beet juice pulp was also fairly dry. There are a few practical things worth knowing. This juicer has a 10-minute continuous runtime, followed by a 10-minute rest period. To open the lid, there's a release clip hidden under the handle. Once you know it's there, it's easy. If the lid is open while the machine is running, it automatically stops as a safety feature and resumes once the lid is fully closed. I like to peel my apples. You can leave the skin on, but in my experience with juicers, apple skins tend to slow things down or cause temporary blockages. Peeling them up front will just save a lot of time. You can feed ingredients through the small opening in the lid if they fit, or open the lid and add ingredients that way. I found layering works best, starting with softer produce, then harder items, and finishing with apple if you're using it to help clear everything through. It's also a tall machine, so you'll want to check cabinet height and counter depth. You may find yourself pulling it forward slightly to open the lid comfortably. Everything comes apart easily. First unlock the container by turning it counterclockwise. Then I find it easier to take off the juicing bowl from the base so I can pull out the auger. Across all the juice blends, the filter area looked very similar. There were no major blockages. There was no food trapped under the auger, which is the biggest win here. The juicing bowl showed similar results as well, no chunks or bits, just excess pulp and juice. Cleaning is mostly focused on the filter, but nothing felt hard to reach or frustrating. I recommend rinsing everything right away so pulp doesn't dry on, and also use a strainer to catch all your pulp because you don't want it to block your drain. Overall, the AMZChef model 078 is easy to use, handles everyday juices well, and the wide chute is convenient. The main thing to be aware of is the increase in noise with harder or fibrous ingredients, even though it still processes effectively. If you're new to juicing or want something straightforward for daily use, this is easy to live with as long as you have the counter space, because this thing is 18 inches tall. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to share any tips or experience you have that may be helpful to others and myself. If you enjoyed this review, I'm sure you'll love the next one, so please give this video a like before you go, and I hope to see you in my next video.